Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the amazing Matt Facci. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Dude, I am doing very well. I am so excited to have you here. But Matt, before we talk about why you're here, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You've been a horror fan for about as long as you can remember, and
Yep.
the father of four boys who also love getting involved in horror.
Yep.
Now, is horror? Obviously, I'm a father as well. I have a son and two daughters. Is horror something that came natural to your boys? Something they just naturally progressed into?
I think it was kind of like a slow progression. Once they saw what I was into and saw the stuff that I collect and the masks and the Blu-rays and all that stuff, they just were so intrigued with it as well. And they're not so much in it for the violence per se as they are just for, the overall look of the killer. They love like Jason and Michael and Chucky. They don't really care about the kill scenes or any of that, the violence. They kind of stay away for that. They just love the actual villain of the film for the most part.
I get it, man. My youngest, she's 3, and she's a huge Michael Myers and Chucky fan. So, but it's
Dude.
mostly like watching the clips of them on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's mostly
Yep.
what she is. Like if you try to sit her down and watch the whole movie, she's like,
Nah.
I want more Chucky. I don't know what you're doing about Andy Barkley crap. But so, and not just that, but you do continue to grow your YouTube channel. You try to put out the best, most fun content you can and keep grinding. And
Mhm.
Fauci Cinema, if you guys haven't already, the links are down here in the description. Please subscribe to the channel. Please also follow him on social media. I did a poll on Instagram asking people who is somebody that you would love to see interviewed on My First Horror Movie. And I got about 3 comments talking about Matt. So I was an honor to be able to reach out and to be able to have you. And then once I was able to check out your YouTube channel, I saw immediately why people gravitated to you and why they wanted to see you talk about this. So
Mhm.
when you talk about your YouTube channel, for people that have never seen your channel, can you give a little bit of a briefing about what you do over at Fauci Cinema?
Every week, depends, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday night, always have a live stream going on, whether, watch alongs, whether just talking news or anything. I love to do live streams more than pre-recorded content because I love the interaction with the viewers. And I tend to see, more views come when I do my live streams and we get to hang out and chat and just have a good time. Personality wise, I don't do anything by the books. I half the time don't know what I'm talking about, or it doesn't sound like I do. But as long as I can have a good time with the subject matter and the audience can have a good time interacting with me, and I bring the comedy and the jokes, that is the most important part to me. I mean, I do reviews. When I first started the channel, it was more review based, but after doing it for a year or so, that really wasn't that interesting to me because I don't like to get into the nitty gritty facts of each and every single film that comes out. That's just not what I want to do. So primarily right now, I just kind of do whatever comes to mind. Trailer reactions. I'm really big into watch alongs because not so much the watching the movie part because that never goes according to plan, but the conversations that arise when watching the movie is what I love to talk about and do. So that's what I've been doing a lot of recently, and we've been having a really, really good time the past couple of weeks doing that.
Well, and the best thing is, you guys could be involved in that too by clicking the links down in the description, subscribing on YouTube, and following on social media. So it is funny that you're wearing your Pittsburgh hat and I'm wearing my Detroit hat, and our boys played today in spring training. So I do think that's pretty funny. So
That is.
man, and it's another thing too, like because I agree with you. Like I love the best pre-recorded content to me is when I'm doing a My First Horror Movie episode because I love being able to talk to people about this. And obviously the stuff me and Ashley do, like when we do verses, when we're taking on like a remake versus an original and what we like better
Yeah.
about each one, or I didn't see that coming, where we're just strictly breaking down a movie with a twist and how it was effective. I love doing things like that, but if you put a gun to my head, I'm going to choose a live stream every single time. I
Yep.
love it because it's kind of like when you're in a band. When you're doing your pre-recorded content, that's making your album. You got to do the making of it. You got to do the production, all that. When you're doing a live stream, it's like you're playing a show and you're getting that instant gratification or that instant critique right in front of you. And I'm much more of an on-stage guy than an in-the-booth guy. So I also love to live stream as well. And I would love to bring you on sometime, man. We'll talk about that a little more when we're done here. Right? This has to happen. So
all right, man.
Now, in order for you to do the YouTube page and to be a horror dad, which is one of the best fucking things in the world to be, if you love horror, you love being a father, you put those two together. I mean, I can't even walk into my bedroom right now without Chucky being right here, because this is what my 3-year-old daughter sleeps with every night. So Chucky protects her from the good things.
Okay.
So I do want to know, man. Like I said, if you're a horror dad, you're a huge horror fan, you do the YouTube channel, which is super amazing. That had to start somewhere, Matt. So what I'd like to do now is go back to the past and talk about how horror started for you, your first horror movie. And oh boy, is this a doozy. Your first horror movie was
Maximum Overdrive, which most people do not like that movie at all.
See, I don't hate Maximum Overdrive. Do I think it's a fantastic movie? No. Do I have an absolute fucking blast every time I watch it? Yes, I do. And I can't tell you how many times my cousin and I quoted this movie.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
That is a line that we said so many times growing up, and it's a fun movie, man. So
It is.
do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
Honestly, I was probably either 5 or 6. And the reason that I know that is because, you know how back in the day you could just pop a VH tape in and just push record, right? And, you know, one of them happened to say Matt's 5th birthday party, you know what I mean? and I recorded over my birthday party with Maximum Overdrive. So I got in trouble. And back whenever it came out, obviously, being 5, I didn't know any better. I didn't call it Maximum Overdrive. I just called it Bad Trucks because that's all that I knew that it was. So that's what was written on the tape. My birthday was scratched off, and then underneath, Bad Trucks was written on by my parents underneath. So I always had that on VHS. And I wish I actually had a legit VHS copy of it. I don't, but
Right.
I do remember popping that movie in a hell of a lot and wearing that sucker out.
What would be even better is if you didn't write Bad Trucks on it and people were like, man, this kid had a fucked up 5th birthday.
that would have worked. Like,
Dude, it's so funny you say that. 'Cause I remember being young and like when you wanted to record something, like if you couldn't find a tape, you would just actually take a piece of tape and put it over the tab on your VHS, and then you record it like that. I can't tell you. I don't know if you know this about me or not, Matt, but I grew up in a video store. My parents owned a mom and pop video store.
Awesome.
And the original Rickroll was people would take tapes home. They'd rent tapes. And if they didn't like the movie, they would like record over it with the news. And like, you know, people would come back with like their copy of like The Mask and be like, hey, this is the 11 o'clock news. And we're like, damn it, we got it again. Like, it was like an epidemic back then, man. Like people were just like, what? No, fuck this. Put Walter Cronkite over top of The Mask with Jim Carrey. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things, man. So when you talk about recording over something like that, that's the first thing that always pops in my head. So Maximum Overdrive, like I said, is it the greatest movie in the world? No, it isn't. But it's a very fun movie. It's an entertaining movie. And when we were young boys watching it, it was a very scary film. So do you remember which scene it was that affected you the most?
Honestly, it was probably that entire like baseball scene when the freaking vending machine is shooting out the soda cans at the coach, and then and then the other players in the outfield are getting shot by the cans, and then the steamroller comes in, which is like falling apart and shit. I don't know how that's even together, but flattens that kid in the outfield, and I was like, I said they're going there in this one. Damn, like they weren't afraid to kill kids in this movie, and that as a 5-year-old was like, dang, oh shit. Like, well, not oh shit, but you know what I mean.
Well, and especially at how graphic that one, like the kid getting rolled up like a tube of toothpaste under the steamroller, man. And what I love about that scene is just like, it's almost comical at first. Like when the coach gets hit, it's not. You know, he gets hit in the dick and then he falls, he gets hit in the head and he's got that mark. And you're like, oh my God. But the kids, it's like, and then the one kid, smartly enough, takes the catcher's hat and goes up. Like, God, what that, again, amazing sequence. And right after that, you got him riding his bike through town and seeing all like the aftermath of everything that's happened. So like it's funny because I watched this as an adult and I'm like, what the hell? And then you remember watching this through the lens of a 5, 6, 7-year-old is a completely different
Yes.
thing. We haven't been desensitized. We don't know about how corny things are. You know, like it's just a fantastic movie to a young boy that's getting into the horror show. So you said it also has some of the things we love: big trucks,
Big trucks.
gun.
Yep.
You know, like there's pretty women. You know, it has a
Yep.
lot of things that as a 5-year-old boy you're super attracted to on a whole. So we talked about which scene it was that affected you the most, Matt. But what would you say your favorite scene from Maximum Overdrive is?
Oh, probably like the escape scene. Whenever all the trucks are circling the building and the sky is like neon green and they have to go under the tunnels and they're going through that disgusting ass water and shit. And they got all their cool guns and stuff.
Yeah.
That was, once again, like you said, that's something as a little kid you're like, man, that's so cool. They look badass and stuff. So I like that whole. That's pretty much most of the majority of the third act, pretty much. And then when they get to the marina and they get to the dock and you see the Green Goblin truck slowly stalking them from behind like a serial killer, but it's a truck. Man, it's a good. That's a good scene.
What a brilliant villain for the film. Woo! You know, like King knew what he was doing with that one, because it's going to stick with you, because one, it's the truck and it's the Green Goblin. And now whenever you see Spider-Man, you know, that's all you're thinking of is, I've seen that before. So now another question I've been asking a lot recently with, you know, a movie like this, remakes, requels, sequels, that's kind of all the rage right now. Is Maximum Overdrive a movie that you would like for them to take a shot at today?
Oh. I don't know. I don't think it would work. I don't think it would work at all. I mean, I guess that same thing goes for Christine. I heard they wanted to remake that. I just don't know how serious you could really take that nowadays. Obviously, the way that these movies are, they could either go the artsy way, which I don't know how you would do that with Maximum Overdrive. It really wouldn't make sense. Or the ultra graphic. Everything that we got in the original is just going to be jacked up to 100, blood everywhere, and I don't really know if it's meant to be that serious of a film, and I don't think it could get away with being as cheesy and corny as it was. So this is kind of a movie that should just stay where it is, one movie, and that's it.
And that's fair. And I thought they just remade Christine. Halloween Ends. Wasn't that a Christine remake?
Hey, I love Halloween Ends. Thank you.
I don't hate Halloween Ends. Like, dead serious. Like, I the only thing I hate about Halloween Ends was the marketing. That's the only thing I dislike about that movie.
True.
We were marketed as, you know, the end of the saga, you know. I'd have been a lot better if Corey was a character in Kills. But again, it's a good movie. The movie's good. It's a fun movie. But the marketing, much like Jennifer's Body, the marketing ruined what the movie could have been for me. That's it, you know. And again, I don't hate it. I liked it way better on my second viewing once I kind of had an idea of what I was for.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, again, I had to take a stab at it with Corey Cunningham there. So
True.
We know about your first horror movie and what Maximum Overdrive means to you. But now here for a second, Matt, I do want to kind of throw a curveball at you here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
My little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Matt? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
That would be the original Halloween from 1978, of course. But I'm not gonna lie, it is my favorite. But every time I rewatch Scream from 1996, it inches up one step closer to being right neck and neck with Halloween, if I'm gonna be honest.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, like, Halloween 1978, and everybody that knows me knows this, and if you watched the podcast before, you probably know what I'm going to say. While I'm not the biggest fan of Halloween 1978, I don't think it's what started the slasher genre. I think that it is the prototype for what the perfect slasher movie is.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the blueprint of what Halloween did and you add a little bit more excitement and action to the movie, Halloween is the perfect slasher film. You have just as much of your villain as you do your hero. The score is absolutely top notch. You have the most memorable villain possibly of all time in Michael Myers. Anybody that's horror fan or not, I wouldn't say he's the most recognizable. I'd say probably Chucky or Freddy might be more recognizable, because there are people that mix up Michael and Jason if they're not huge horror heads.
You're true.
But when you have the impact of what Michael Myers is, and again, I'm talking through the scope of a kid, I hated Halloween. As a child, I hated it. It was white bread. It was boring. Jason was exciting. But as an adult, I would say that Halloween is probably the scariest of the franchises because it's just a guy. It's just your neighbor that went absolutely insane. And without Halloween, we don't get Friday the 13th.
No.
We don't get Scream, you know? And what Halloween did in 1978 is what Scream did in 1996. You look at after Halloween, we got Friday the 13th. You know, we got all these movies that came out. After Scream, we got Urban Legend. I Know What You Did Last Summer. All these movies that came out under that blueprint. And so these were two extremely influential movies in the genre. Whether you love them or you hate them, you cannot deny how important both Halloween and Scream are to the horror genre as a horror fan. So I got to give it up to Halloween and Scream, man. I like I said, the older I've gotten, the more I've warmed up to the original Halloween. I've always been a huge fan of like Halloween 3, Halloween 4 and 5. I've always loved them both. I know that sometimes 5 gets a lot of shit. And Halloween H2O is my favorite because, you know, that was the first Halloween I saw in the movie theater, man. So
thank you.
I may be a little blasphemous right now, and please don't punch me in the face, everybody. I don't want to see anybody outside my house tonight with their torches and pitchforks. I unironically enjoy Halloween Resurrection. I think Halloween Resurrection is so fun. Is it like a top-notch award-winning movie? Fuck no. But I've never watched it and been bored. I've never watched it, and you know, I have so much fun with that movie. So I like it. I like Halloween Resurrection. I'm one of those guys. But, and again, you know, next week, well, by the time you guys watch it, you've already seen it, but, you know, Scream 6 is coming out. Halloween Ends came out last year. And these two franchises are still probably two of the most divisive franchises in all of horror. And the way that we divide ourselves in these franchises is sad. You know, if you did like Halloween Ends, that's fine. It's okay for people that did. If you love Halloween Ends, that's fine. It's okay that people did it. You know, that's art. You know, that's what is so fun about all this. So, man, I do got to be honest. I've had an amazing time talking to you about Halloween, about Scream, about Maximum Overdrive. But what I want to do before I let you go, we're going to bounce back to Maximum Overdrive. You know, the cocaine bear for Stephen King, because he was the cocaine bear the whole time they were filming it. So with this movie, what we're going to do, man, is we're going to rank this on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. What we're doing is strictly ranking Maximum Overdrive on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 skulls being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Matt, what would your ranking of Maximum Overdrive be?
I'd probably have to give it 4 skulls.
Which is a very fair ranking. Like I said, it's a movie that you watch it now, and I feel bad for people that didn't watch this when they were kids.
I agree.
Because you don't get that. Another scene that I don't think is talked about enough, man. And again, as a kid, it really got me. When the guy goes into the arcade and it starts shooting out the cigarettes in the corners and stuff, and then he touches it and he gets electrocuted. Yeah, dude, that scene for me as a kid, I was like, oh, he just wanted to have fun. Man. He did. Cigarettes and play, but like, what are we doing here, guys? So I appreciate the fact that I've been able to talk about this movie with you, because you're somebody that I respect, and to know that you had this level of admiration for Maximum Overdrive as a kid is so rad to me, man. Growing up, I loved this movie, you know, and like I said, you got guns, you've got trucks, you've got, you know, you do have some pretty shoddy acting at times.
Thank you! Can't you understand? Want to know? You can't do this! We made you!
Yeah. I agree.
But at the same time, you know, it's just like, as kids, we don't pay attention to that shit. I get to see a guy get called an asshole by an ATM machine. The bridge opening at the beginning is so scary when you're a kid, man. When you see like the watermelons falling down and it's
hitting the truck,
dude, so dope. And can we also talk about the whole soundtrack of this movie was done by AC/DC?
Yes, it was.
Like, oh my gosh, man. Like, you open up with Who Made Who? I'm like, let's be honest here, man. What an awesome song, Who Made Who, to go along with Maximum Overdrive.
Makes sense.
You know, like, it's so brilliant, man. So I do want to say again, guys, I did have all of Matt's social media links as well as YouTube link down in the description. Don't follow him or subscribe to him for yourself, or for him or me. Do it for yourself. because I'm telling you, his shit is legit. Christian Hanna Horror turned me on to Matt, and I'm so glad he did because I'm very excited for the chance to work with you now, and I really hope that we get the chance to do a live stream again. So I do again want to say, Matt, please don't go anywhere. I do got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, as always, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you're following Sledgehammer Horror on social media so you can stay up to date on everything we're doing as well. And until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.